This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees, Weatherford College. Today is Thursday, February 14, 2019. It's 2 o'clock p.m. We're in the Allen Strain Community Room of the Daw Student Center, which is located at 225 College Park Drive, Weatherford, Parker County, Texas. And we're here to consider and act on the posted agenda. And so I will call this meeting to order. We do have a full complement of trustees here today. So I'll ask Mr. Grizzard to give the invocation.
Bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, as we come together on this beautiful shiny day, we ask your blessings upon the decisions that we make as a board. We ask that you be with the faculty and staff at Weatherford College as they guide young people and as they change the lives of young people. We would ask that you be with those that are defending our country in places outside of the United States so that we can have this college and have this meeting. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Let's all stand and I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Number 2 item is open forum. Ms. Worley?
There are none.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
I'd just like to say, since Dr. Dixon is here, we owe Dr. Dixon a round of applause. Anybody that was in Phi Theta Kappa and didn't get recognized at the last board meeting, so.
Mr. Grizzard, I appreciate that.
I went back to check the records just to see if it was true. It was.
It was.
Now, Coach Embry might have helped a little, but it's okay. Thanks, Rod.
Okay, we're going to move to number 3 on the agenda, President's Report. President Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members of the Board of Weatherford College Trustees, I would like to give a few brief recognitions, employee notices, and an enrollment update. Recognitions. I would like to begin by congratulating the Weatherford College Workforce team members, Workforce Dean Janetta Cruz, and Workforce Solutions employee Adam Kern. Would all of our workforce representatives here today please stand? Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I am very proud to announce that for the first time in Weatherford College history, WC was named the Educational Partner of the Year by Workforce Solutions. While Adam Kern comes to the microphone, I would like to present the board with the Weatherford College Educational Partner of the Year trophy. Mr. Adam Kern has a few brief comments for the board.
Is this the microphone or is it somewhere else?
Right there.
Oh, good. I talk really loud, so.
You're good.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Farmer, and I appreciate you recognizing the great team that we have here, and I appreciate you having me to speak to the partnership that I have with your folks. I got to say, from starting here 3 years ago and to where we are now and where I see for the future, and then having experience with the other junior colleges or any of the universities around our 14-county region, I can tell you that I'm extremely excited about what's going to happen in the future and what we've done, especially this last year. It's been a challenging one. We've had attrition, retirements, we've had things come out, which is great, but it makes it a little funner. But the commitment that we have to the community and the team here, you know, who in the summer, it doesn't matter if it's 101, we're going to go do a tour at a machine shop, and we didn't, you know, it doesn't matter, and we're going to learn what they do. And so the great thing is that the focus is making a difference in the community's lives and the people of our future, the people of our present. And so I couldn't do it with a better team, and I actually can't do anything without them. So they're pretty wonderful, but I do appreciate Dr. Farmer letting me come up and say it. And to nominate you guys for this, I really felt good about it, but we have to compete with things like Collin College and things that have 10 branches everywhere, and there's just an influx of people. And I was very, very pleased to know that we were able to present this to you because it's well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Kern. Congratulations to Dr. Arlene Atkins for being named as one of Parker County Today magazine's 100 most interesting Parker County people you should meet before you die. We are very proud of Arlene. I would also like to recognize Dr. Andrew Cantrell, Mr. Adam Finley, and Mr. Doug Jefferson for leading a group of WC students on their trip to Austin for Community College Day. The group toured the state capitol and had a private audience with State Representative Phil King in his Capitol office. Board Secretary Leila Morris and members Dr. Robert Marlette and Elaine Carter recently traveled with me to the Texas Success Center 2019 Board of Trustees Institute in Marble Falls. As a result of the Institute, we will be getting with the entire board to schedule a board retreat for strategic planning purposes later this spring. Additionally, you will see a new standing report titled, "How Are We Doing with Student Success Using Numbers with Heart?" as a result of the Institute training. The North Texas Junior College Athletic Conference has announced Weatherford College's Stephanie Jimenez as their NTJCAC Softball Position Player of the Week for January 27th through February 2nd. We have Coach Williams and Stephanie Jimenez with us today. Would the two of you please stand? Thank you. You may be seated.
Wait a minute. Where's the ankle boot? My wee ass, she roasted her ankle in a basketball pickup game before the softball game. I guess maybe come back. No boot, we back? All right, carry on.
Stephanie is a freshman third baseman from Huntington Park, California, and had a .684 batting average for the week with 3 doubles, 1 home run, 9 RBIs, 5 runs scored, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Congratulations. Finally, I'm proud to announce that Weatherford College has been nominated for Large Business of the Year by the East Parker County Chamber of Commerce. This nomination is another first for WC in its history and is a great honor for Weatherford College. Employee notices. DMAC Local requires the college president to provide the names of contract employees that have resigned since the last board meeting. In accordance with this policy, the following individuals have submitted resignations. Mathematics instructor Daniel Callahan was unavailable for duty after required notice of the board's intent. That separation date became effective 1/10/2019. Nikki Harless, an accountant, has resigned with an effective date of 2/28/2019. We have a resignation from Public Safety EMS, Greg Martin, who the effective date is 2/13/2019. And Food Services employee Gloria Matthews has retired effective 12/31/2018. We thank these team members for their service and wish them the very best in future endeavors. Enrollment update. I am very pleased to report that Weatherford College exceeded record enrollment again this spring. As of the official count date, we had 5,913 students enrolled for the spring 2019 semester. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, President Farmer. We'll move to item number 4 on the agenda, consent agenda and financial reports. A, approval of minutes from January 10th, 2019 board meeting. Financial reports ending December 31, 2018 through January 31, 2019. Budget amendment number 2. AAAS Field of Study Degree Designations, extension of RFP 0413 Depository Bank Services, and change order for Wise County Campus Roofing Contract. Is there a motion to approve those items?
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, consideration possible action, TASB policy service update 35. Rolinda Stone, please. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
As you all know, the college partners with TASB Policy Service to update both our legal and local policies. And board action is not required for the legal policies, however, board action is required for the local policies. And today we bring you update 35. There's one new policy, CKD, regarding health and life insurance programs and continuation of coverage while an employee is on paid leave. The other updates in this packet are just revisions to existing policies.
Okay.
So today, Cabinet is bringing you update 35.
All right. We need a motion on that, though. Okay. Anything else, Ms.
No,
Stone?
sir.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion that we approve the TASB policy service update number 35?
I so moved.
Second on that?
second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to reports number 6. Demand study update, Mr. Indy and Ms. Cruz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Indy. How are you today?
Doing great. How about you?
Hanging in there.
Well, good. Now, let's see if I can make this work. Larry's got it. We're going to come to you routinely for several board meetings to come. Talk to you about
I
demand
appreciate
study.
that too. I think that's something that, there's been requests for that, and I think that's really a good thing to be done.
Well, we think it's a great thing too, and we're going to expand beyond what we would typically call a demand study to lots of areas where we're doing data-based investigation of the institution's performance, as well as its opportunities to serve the community better. So we're going to start with that today, and we're going to start with what we're doing right now. I'm going to cover the academic portions of this, and Jeanetta's going to focus on some things we've been doing in workforce education. So to begin with, we've prepared our institutional research survey. It's for our service area high school student interest survey. It's a 16-question instrument. There's a link here for it. If you'd like to see it, we'll provide you a look at it. But it asks a series of questions of the students, including what their current endorsement is, what their educational and career goals are, what community colleges or universities they might be interested in attending. If they're not interested in attending school, what else they might be doing, whether they're going to the military, they're going immediately into the workforce, and if they're not going to school but would like to, what other factors are influencing their non-attendance. So our plan is to distribute this in April and May to all of our service area partners, and to get those instruments back from students and then do the analysis as we work through the summer to determine what's driving our student population. This is very valuable information because you may not know, but we can access data on our students. We can access it because they were our dual credit students if they were in high school, but we can't access data on all students in all high schools in our service area. That's their data, and it isn't reported anywhere where we can get it. So as we look at it, we're looking at a fairly narrow window of what individuals do that are available to us. And we can look at it very completely, but it's a fairly narrow window. So this will give us an insight into what they say they intend to do. It's being delivered to high school seniors.
Actually, we're opening it up to all high school.
All high school students.
Classification.
So you're right. So we're doing it with all classifications. But what we're trying to determine is what changes between we intend to do this and this is what we actually do, and trying to meld that data. So this will be very interesting for us. And again, we'll be looking at the actual responses, doing the data analysis this summer, and then coming back to you in the late summer, early fall with what we're learning and what that's changing about how we look at the students and how we deal with them and attempt to bring them into Weatherford College and serve them. So.
Now that data is protected, isn't it? In other words, we can't disseminate it out of.
The data would come from the students. That's on a website, and they can access it through the web. They have to have unique identifiers, so we would protect those and to protect student anonymity confidentiality in this process. But there is no student performance data in this survey, so there's nothing there that really threatens the student if it were released. But there's no real benefit from going back through and associating the student identifiers with the students themselves. That would compromise the work because they might feel targeted about what we're doing. If we ask them a question and then respond to it and say, well, you said this. So we're going to be very careful about that. Janetta, are you ready for your part? All right. There you go.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to share some brief information with you about the business survey and some of our workforce education initiatives that are going on. A lot of exciting things happen in workforce right now. As a component of the demand study, we've developed a 10-question business survey to gather information to enable us to better serve the businesses in our community. This will be and has been already and will continue to be an ongoing process to continually build relationships and deliver training to our business partners. Our goal is to collect focused and quality data to allow us to determine specific training needs and demographics of the companies in our service area. We do know that many of the companies in our service area are small businesses. Therefore, we plan to identify common training needs and pool our resources with larger employers to serve as many of those businesses as possible with either customized training and/or grant opportunities. Even though this is an entire department initiative, our workforce education coordinators Hayden Harbold and Kristen McLaughlin, I'll have them stand up. Hayden and Kristen are going to spearhead and be our leads in different counties. Kristen's in the Wise County campus, and then Hayden's going to cover the other counties for us. He houses here at the main campus with us. We also utilize our workforce business liaisons. You've met Adam Kern. We work very close with Adam here in this one. And then another liaison is Veronica Eisenhart. She's at the Wise County campus. And she and Kristen have actually been meeting on a weekly basis and going out to businesses. In fact, they had a business meeting on Tuesday. I'll share a little bit about that just a little bit later. But we work very closely with our business liaisons, also the local workforce solution offices. They are an instrumental part of our training for the community, and we appreciate their support and definitely are honored by the award that we received from them. We're distributing the survey electronically through email and then following up with that with the phone call and/or in-person contacts. We began this month with a small sampling of companies, and we've received a few of those back already. We have approached and contacted Cantex and Parker and Mineral Wells, Phoenix Construction and JMAC in Weatherford, IMS and Azle, Imperial Fabricating and Bailey's Blossoms in Decatur, and Devon Energy in Bridgeport. Additional surveys will go out in the next few weeks on a focused schedule so that we can ensure timely follow-up to obtain the best results possible. This will be an ongoing process in our department and continuing to add contacts as we possibly can. Ms. Sue Cody and Ms. Rhonda Torres were our boots on the ground yesterday at the East Parker County Luncheon, networking and actually bringing even additional contacts to us. So we're networking and using every avenue we possibly can to get contacts within the communities in all of our service areas. We'll also present at our advisory meetings. March 4th is our scheduled one in Weatherford, and March 7th is our scheduled one in Wise County. And then in the late spring or summer, we plan to host a business summit in the Wise County area in partnership with Texas Workforce Commission, Workforce Solutions, local chambers, and the Economic Development Councils. These events will allow us to collect even more information for our demand study and build quality relationships. We will have more surveys completed and data collected for you by the next board meeting. So at that time, if you would like, we'll come back and share with you our results of the data that we've found.
If you can, that would be great.
Absolutely. Our current list of potential businesses is survey right now, and it's growing every day. I don't have all the business cards entered from Tuesday yet, but we have approximately 225 businesses on that list already, and 30% of those are in industrial, 55% in healthcare, and 15% in other business services. Of those companies, 95 are in Parker County, 78 in Wise County, and 52 in the other service area counties. So that's our sampling right now, but ever growing as we add contacts to that. The get the next one here. A very exciting initiative that we're kicking off in conjunction with this survey is our corporate college. And our corporate college, we're going to have our kickoff event on April 12th. So we'll bring more details to you as that gets closer. But that's going to be a big kickoff with as many business partners and connections that we can possibly get there to kick off this. It's a branding of our training that's going to focus on employers' needs. Leadership training series, workplace communication, professionalism in the workplace, those types of training, and help that, because we always and consistently hear that companies need their employees to have soft skills training and leadership training as they move into supervisory positions. So this is a way for us to brand that particular training, expand our opportunities and our focus with that group. With this one, Hayden Harbold, who you've already met, he is actually using this initiative as part of his Clara project as well. So he's going to spearhead that as well, but it's a team effort with all of Workforce to kick that off. And then recently, we have been utilizing the Skills for Small Business grants for IMS and AZLE, EPI and Mineral Wells, with the potential for Bailey's Blossoms in Decatur in the near future. We've also successfully completed skills development grant funds with Parker, which was formerly known as Pico Facet in Mineral Wells. And Weatherford College has received 6 JET grants to date for tuition, scholarships, and equipment. We plan to continue and expand our grant opportunities to expand our training initiatives in the service area. And then the last initiatives, we have developed a cost analysis model to help us as we move forward and expand our programs to have financial sustainability of all of our workforce training initiatives. This model helps us to look at the revenue that we generate and the expenses incurred, including our indirect costs. This will ensure that we have consistency for tuition charge for all of our non-credit workforce courses and programs. And then very last, some possible program expansions. We're in the explore and analyze phase right now to possibly expand some of our industrial areas and truck driving with some possible offerings in Wise County or other areas. We have to consider facilities, logistics, cost, and absolutely safety foremost when we try to expand these 2 other areas. As those plans develop, we will be sure to come back and share you our progress and our findings with those. Lots of exciting and busy times going on in workforce, lots of moving parts and things, but it's exciting to be here. And thank you for the opportunity to address you. First time as the official Dean of Workforce, so that's exciting for our end time. This is actually a small part of our team, so look out. When we're all together, we're a force to be reckoned with. So.
Before you leave, let me ask, anybody have any questions for Mrs. Cruz?
I do.
I knew it. I'm ready.
Hey, Dr. Marlette would. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious. It's probably there. I just probably haven't seen it. But how is this out to the public? How are you reaching out and letting all those employers know this is going on?
For the survey?
Yes.
For corporate college,
program.
the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. The survey we're going to distribute.
Know.
The survey we're going to distribute with our email list and our business liaisons, and we're presenting at chambers and anywhere else we can get on the docket to present. We're going to make sure we're out there and use every contact we possibly can. And then we're going to follow up with that survey. It's not just to send it out and let it sit in somebody's email. We're going to follow up with a phone call, either way, if we get results back or if we don't get results back, because we know it gets buried a lot. Sure. So we're going to follow up with that, and then we're going to use in-person contacts with that. We're going to use social media, every possible way we can to get the word out about that.
I hear you, and I think that's wise, and I think you're doing the right thing as far as I know, and my 2 cents worth. But it needs to be, I believe, for instance, just take a single business in Wise County. How do they know, unless somebody goes by and tells them, how do they know this is all going on, these are the possibilities, and they need to get involved in it? I'm not talking about just filling out that survey. There's other reasons that they need to know, and I'm just wondering how you do that, how
We're
you
gonna
touch
do
it.
that. That's part of, when I said it's an entire department initiative, we're all going to go out and visit those businesses in Wise County. Kristen's going to go out and actually visit more of those. We've done a small sampling of those, but actually get out there. And then Veronica and Adam, that is actually part of their job. I'm speaking for them, but that's part of their job, and their initiative is to help connect businesses with us in there. So we're gonna utilize them to the full extent with that, and actually get boots on the ground out there.
That 70, did you say 79 in Wise County?
Yes, 78.
78 in Wise County. What percentage of the overall target businesses is that? You know, is that half of them, or?
I can't tell you that, but I can research and find out.
Well, I'm just wondering how inclusive that is.
One of the lists that we started with was actually provided by Texas Workforce Commission through payroll taxes. And so that actually gave us the employers who are paying payroll taxes in that county. Some of the employers we identified quickly were not on the list because their corporate office is not in Wise County. So that was kind of something we realized real quick, but that was not all of those. The rest of those are also from Veronica for new businesses, and any of those that we know that are popping up.
Well, some of the
that
aggregate
contract
rock
workers.
companies that have offices someplace else, and how will they know? Will you be
Yes, we're gonna go, and then also
they'd
I
be
will
good
share.
enough.
I'm gonna share that list with you as well. It's a long spreadsheet, so I didn't
Okay.
think you wanted a
Well,
copy of it, but we'll send
no,
it to
no.
you electronically.
No.
It's got several tabs on there. We've broken
Yeah.
it up by different areas, and then we can sort it by county, whatever you wanna sort
This-
by. But that way, if you have some on there, anyone has anything on there that's not on there that we need to add, we're gonna continue to add. It's not a one and done time to do this.
Yeah, I would assume you're using electronic media too?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes,
that's-
Mr. Butler
Yeah.
and Hayden Harville
Yeah.
actually did.
Yeah. You've got a
They-
different way, a lot of different ways other than just on foot or
Yes.
telephone or something like that, which is, sounds to me like y'all are really working on it.
Yeah, it
Doing a
does.
great job.
It sounds, but you're not using a statistical, it's easy for you to say, statistical sampling. You're trying to contact every member of the universe, the subject universe you're after, right? Is that correct?
Eventually. We're not gonna blast it all to everybody at once because we don't want it to sit there and get stale. We wanna make sure we can manage it, and so we're gonna target sampling groups. We're starting in
Yeah.
industrial, but it was very telling to us that healthcare is a huge percentage. And so we definitely need to expand when we can handle that is ready. And so we want to start it with industrial because that's an area that we know we've got some employers already contacting us with. And then expand out. But we want to do samples and send it out instead of a blast to 255. And then we can't get back with them until a month later, and it's stale. It's not pertinent. So we want to do that. But ultimately get to all of them as quickly as we possibly can.
When you image this is a subjective question. When you image this, your team, when you image this, are you looking at corporations, or are you looking at a student or students?
This business survey is looking at corporation businesses. It's from the employer aspect.
May I suggest that the target be the student?
Okay?
Because that's what naturally, that's what we're out there for in Wise County. We need every single student that very best possibility and we serve that student by knowing about the industry and the businesses that are out there.
Right, and the high school survey that Mr. Indy and Mr. Butler were talking about is going to list, it does list all of the workforce and academic programs, including we're adding the non-credit workforce programs as well. So that's an area to hit the high schools.
One
Yes.
last little comment. It says industrial construction, trades, and so maintenance, CAD, machining, welding. Somewhere in there is looming is the greatest need in our day and tomorrow, and that's just strictly 2 letters, AI. And how students are gonna, how will work studies, work programs deal with that need? I know maybe you'll pull it out in your surveys. I don't know. I don't know how that you guys know what you're doing, and so you know how to pull that out. But there's this growing giant, it's called AI, and it's touching everything, whether it's medicine or it's horticulture, whether it's whatever it is, it's touching everything.
Okay, and we
And
can
so-
add that. Our survey is not a stagnant document, because we actually have already sent it out and interviewed a couple of people and realized we needed to add a couple of more questions, and so we can add that as well, and maybe we can get a better handle on what's needed.
Well, bless your heart, the problem is that a lot of folks still don't understand it. And I mean, out there in education, they know what it is. They know what it is, but they don't really quite understand it. They don't know the relationships associated with it, like coding and
Right.
so on. So anyway,
Okay.
good, sounds good to me.
Okay, and I'll have more
Full speed
results
ahead.
and really actual data for you in March then, and bring that to you of how we're doing with our survey, how many we've collected, and what we're hearing from the business community, and share that. If you would like any of the copy of the survey, the cost model, or the list of businesses, if you'll just let us or Teresa know, we'll make sure that we get that to you.
I know you've been up there a long time, but I wanted to give anybody else a chance that wanted to make any questions or make any comments or.
You're doing Herculean work, it's
Anybody else?
awesome. I'm good.
Okay.
We're busy, it's
Doing good.
exciting
Roger,
times,
go
though, it's
ahead.
good. Yes, sir.
Are we coordinating with the chambers of commerce? Because all of them send out newsletters. I know, at least I know East Parker County, I know Weatherford does, and I'm sure Wise County does. And maybe we could just have an insert in there that says, if you haven't seen our survey or you would like to participate in our survey, please call you.
Yes, we'll do that, and we're gonna get on the Wise County, I think it's the Wise County Messenger blast that goes out, and then there's a Parker County blast that goes out, so try to get on those, and there's a Granbury one I know that we can get on as well, so that's what, especially for our corporate college kickoff, and then
And maybe to
tag 'em with our
coordinate
survey.
with the economic development people, because they're the ones that are gonna know which businesses that are gonna be coming here first,
Yes,
and that'll give us a chance to get started,
yes.
to let them know. And I just wondered if, I know Weatherford has a very nice career and tech building, and I know probably almost every high school has a career and technology area. To me, those are the people that need to fill out this survey, and the ones that said non-attendance, there's a chance we could be missing a lot of people, because these people, I don't know how to put this, but if they're non-attendance, they might not be real motivated to fill this out, and so we need to make an extra effort to contact them to find out. Once again, I am just a huge fan of what we're doing, because it takes care of that other half. I mean, Weatherford College is not purely academic. We're academic/vocational, and that's what you're trying to.
Right, I think we're the best kept secret, and we're trying to change that, because, just to make sure that people know, we have strong academics, but we also have strong workforce programs. And I'm in constant contact with Katie Donaghy at the high school, and then Allison Baker at the Economic Development Council, just trying to make every connection we possibly can to hit different, from the student side, from the employer side, all the range, because our students aren't your typical students. We have students anywhere from high school all the way senior citizens, things like that. We trained a certified nurse aide that was 81 years old, and he went to work as a certified nurse aide. So more fit than a lot of us that look younger than that too. So our students really run the gamut of who we're trying to train in that. But I do think we're the best kept secret when we're trying to get the word out. So the more we can do that, I think the better.
Well, I want to give you another pat on the back and tell you thank you. I know you've been up there a long time.
That's okay, I was
Do
prepared.
you want to put in one more last word? I want you to get the last word. I want you to have the last word.
I just want to say thank you. We appreciate the opportunity, and it's not just me.
No, I
I'm
know
just
that.
speaking for the team because I can't do it all by myself. I have a very, very strong sample of people here and some other ones that couldn't be here today. So
Thank you so much.
it's a strong team, and we're ready to move forward and expand and let everybody know we have other programs.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, thank you.
I just have one more question.
Okay.
Whenever we do the health care, is it just health care, like, for example, nursing homes, there's nursing homes for Parkinson's, nursing homes for Alzheimer's, nursing homes. Do we branch out into any of those specialties to, you know, if we could train someone that could work in an Alzheimer's unit, I mean, they're probably going to get a job anyway, but if we can give them some extra training in that specific area.
Right. We do certified nurse aid training, which is in long-term care facilities, which can specialize in those areas, as well as patient care tech, which also goes to the hospital, the clinics, and then medical assistants as well. So we do, and they can specialize whichever direction they want to go.
Okay, thanks.
So absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
while you
Thank
get
you.
a chance. All right, we're going to go to B of number 6, Dr. Cantrell and Mr. Finley on guided pathways report. And by the way, anybody needs to leave, go ahead.
Run now. We haven't spoken to you since last December when we came and reported to you about the Institute number 5 from the Guided Pathways. We've been working very hard for almost a year and over a year and a half now. This Institute number 5, we spent a lot of time preparing for last fall. We had homework that was prepared that we turned into the Institute, and we also had a on-campus in-service that we did a lot of surveying of faculty and staff to prepare us to go to this Institute. During the Institute, which we were very fortunate to have board members present with us, we did a lot of discussion. We didn't only listen to speakers, but we had a lot of discussions on what was going on at our college and advising students and what we could do to improve that. We had goals that we set at that meeting that we will be following, we are following up on right now at our meetings that we have on a monthly basis. The Institute included sessions on academic advising, math pathway, addressing student basic needs with a culture of caring. The Guided Pathways core group will be meeting on Monday. We just today received information on this next session, and they advised us on who it would be good to have at this session, which individuals it would be best to bring at this time. This session will have a goal of basically on our new colleague advising and mission software. And once again, the goal of this new process that we're implementing for the fall is not necessarily to reduce the number of steps a student completes, but rather to ensure the entry experience appropriately guides the students with an efficient pathway for a student with a student goal and their end in mind. Today, Mr. Adam Finley is going to speak to you all and tell you what we've done to follow up on these sessions that we've had. What he's done already in his office to reorganize, to what he has done to in advising services that will be implemented, and what we will continue to do in the spring semester. As I've told you before, the faculty and staff are so appreciative of what the board members are doing and taking part in all this. What Dr. Farmer mentioned today about the attendance of the 3 board members that went to the Texas Pathways or the Board of Trustees Institute earlier this month All of this ties together very well. It was based on Texas Pathways. And what we will do at the session in April that we're about to have, the session will focus on ensuring that students are learning, which ties right into the dimension they all talked about, I believe, at the Institute, the Board Members Institute. So all of this is intended to tie together very well. And it's a continuous thing. It will not end this year, although this is 6 sessions that will come to a beginning, the beginning group of sessions, but they'll start over in the fall with another. So it's a continuous process for the colleges to improve student success. That next session will be April 24th through the 26th in San Antonio, Texas. And once again, it will be on ensuring students are learning. Anyone that's interested in going, please see me after the meeting. I'll be glad to. We'll be sitting down Monday and deciding for sure who all will be going to attend the session. And I'll turn this over to Adam Finley.
Dr. Campbell, how many slots do you have on that?
Well, we can take as many, they pay for 7.
Okay.
And we can take as many as we have professional development money. You know, I think it depends on how many we get, like if we had 2 complete groups, like 8 and 8, or 7 and 7, it would work real well. But like last time we had 10 where we could fit everyone around a table and we could discuss and work on our homework together. And so I think we need to look at it in that. We either take 10 or 14 or something like that.
I think it's important that you get the biggest number of faculty and administration that needs to go.
I agree, and they did, the information I received today, it was pretty prescriptive what they'd like to see. The faculty, Senate, Vice President of Instruction, Vice President of Student Services, President, they'd like to be down there. Also, advising personnel, institutional
I really
research.
appreciate you clarifying that. That's
Okay.
really interesting.
So it's a very rounded out group.
Thank you. Mr. Finley, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cantrell. Spring 2019 is already shaping up to be an exciting and eventful semester. Many projects are ongoing related to guided pathways with the intent to increase student success. The projects listed for the spring 2019 term were developed with input from the Guided Pathways leadership team. Each project was identified at previous Guided Pathways workshops, and with assistance from Shantae Sieber, our Guided Pathways specialist, a tracking document and timeline were developed. A primary focus since late fall has been reevaluating our advising processes and barriers it sometimes creates for our students. For that reason, we have improved advising guides and approached advising from the student perspective with the goal of creating tools to help guide a student to be an advocate for their own education. This spring semester, we started looking at what can be addressed prior to implementing our new student information system, Colleague. Keeping in mind a goal to Guided Pathways is establishing and creating connection points for faculty advisors and faculty are starting a series of meetings over the spring semester where we will work to bridge the gaps and collaborate in a way that will help student advisement. This is a new series that will promote and foster future communications between faculty and staff advisors. Each meeting will include individual departments working with advisors and serve as a mechanism to help facilitate faculty advising. A secondary focus this spring has been examining our onboarding process. This process has been mapped out, but our next step is to receive student feedback. As many times we view this process to be linear, while many students have different perspectives on the admissions process at Weatherford College. This concludes my Guided Pathways update. I'd be happy to address any questions at this time, and I am prepared to continue to the next report on student success using numbers with heart.
All right. Anyone want to ask him some questions?
I'd just like to say that at that conference we just went to was so powerful about student success, and the one statement that really hit home with me is we're always hearing this statement, is the student college ready? They turned it around and said, is your college student ready? And it was all about removing those barriers. So everything that we're doing in this, I support it completely.
Well, thank you.
Thank you much. You can go ahead and go to your next topic if you don't mind. Thank you.
Fall 2018, all state institutions were required to implement co-requisite models of developmental education under House Bill 2223. Today, I would like to discuss Weatherford College's implementation that met this requirement and highlight the positive impact being reported on student success. A co-requisite course is an instructional strategy whereby the student is co-enrolled in a developmental education course and the entry-level freshman course of the same subject matter, offering the opportunity to complete both courses in the same semester. The primary goal, providing a pathway to allow a student to successfully complete the freshman level course and required developmental course in one semester. There are several models to accomplish or meet the state requirement, and Weatherford College deployed two different strategies. The Mathematics Department, under the leadership of Ms. Shirley Brown, Mathematics Department Chair, decided to build an 8-week model offering the developmental course the first half of the semester and the college credit course during the second half of the semester. This decision was due to mathematic concepts being sequential in teaching and learning. The Developmental Education Department for Reading and Writing chose a different path by coordinating with the Humanities Department to offer a concurrent model whereby students can enroll in both the developmental reading and writing course and freshman college English. Ms. Shannon McNabb, Chair of Learning Foundations, and Dr. Dana Brewer, Chair of Humanities, created a pilot program that mixed underprepared students with college-ready students, as defined by the state, while also offering the developmental course that aligned directly with the learning outcomes, instruction, and assessment of freshman college English course. These courses were taught side by side through the full 16-week term. To determine the impact of both co-rep models, success rates were compared to the traditional 16-week standalone courses for the fall term. In mathematics, the results were significant. In our Math 0342, which is a standard 16-week developmental course teaching similar concepts to the first 8-week co-rep course, the success rate was 49.6%. This number excludes student withdrawals and defines success as C or better, which is required for the student to move on to the college level course. In the 8-week co-rep model, students had a 72.8% success rate in the developmental course and an 85.9% success rate in the college level math course. The 85.9 success rate does include students who earned a D or better. However, this freshman level course is our Math 1332, Contemporary Mathematics. And for many of our students, this is the only math course they will need for degree completion and transfer. Therefore, a D can meet some students' immediate goals.
D is passing?
Yes, sir. For reading and writing, the traditional 16-week DIRW 0302 success rate for the fall term was 88.6%. Success being defined as C or better in the developmental sequence, which is hard to improve on. But for the concurrent co-write model, 75% earned a C or better in the developmental sequence, and 79.5% earned a passing grade in the freshman college English course. While this percentage is lower than the traditional model, it must be noted this was a pilot program with a smaller population. Only 48 students total were enrolled, and 79.5% of underprepared students who completed the co-rep model completed also their developmental education requirement and freshman college English, which is a major accomplishment. House Bill 2223 required that 25% of our enrollment be in a co-rec model. For fall 2019, we are required to increase this to 50%. Ms. Brown, Ms. McNabb, and Dr. Brewer and their teams have strategized to accomplish this goal for the fall 2019 term. I would like to formally thank them and their teams for their effort and dedication to helping students succeed at Weatherford College. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report. Happy to answer
Is
any questions.
50% about 100 students?
50% of the total enrollment in developmental education.
Okay, all right,
And then, they're bad.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
This is a state requirement?
It is a state requirement.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good requirement. Anybody have any questions, Roger?
No, I think that's a lot of information, a ton of information. It really is. And, you know, once again, I would just love to see more coordination with high schools and colleges as to this is what we expect when they get to Weatherford College, and maybe after they graduate, if they could take some summer course in math or developmental writing or reading, whenever August gets here, perhaps they might be ready to take college algebra. I mean, I just will forever be frustrated with why we can't do a better job in math. I mean, other countries do it, why can't we? And I don't have an answer. And I've asked other people, like Ms. Rothrock, and they just kind of go, I don't know. But there's something they do that enables their students to be more successful in math, and I wish I knew what it was. But I think this is fantastic. What we're doing to help these kids get caught up is exactly why we're here. You know, we're not here for everybody to say, well, you didn't make it, sorry, go somewhere else. We're here to help you get up to here, and that means we've got a big heart and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes, sir.
Changing lives.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about college prep models, or?
Roger, would you like to know what we're doing with the underprepared high school student while they're still in high school? The student who demonstrates the inability to pass the TSI or the STAR test by their senior year can enroll in a college preparatory course that's developed in coordination between the high school and the college, so that the student can demonstrate TSI completion standard through a course rather than high stakes testing. And that student then can come to Weatherford College having passed that high school course and enter a college level course. It prohibits us, the legislative standards prohibit us from pairing co-requisite courses with college prep courses, because that college prep course doesn't count as a completion until the student actually graduates from high school. Otherwise, we would be trying the co-requisite model in high school the way that we've seen it work in college. I talked to Dr. Susan Morales-Vail earlier this week to ask if we could try it. The legislative mandate hasn't caught up to the idea yet, and we're looking for ways to demonstrate student competency and to develop student competency so that we can keep them tracking through mathematics. And here we're talking about contemporary mathematics, getting them to a functional level, college level of math competency, while they're still tracking before we see slide, student resistance, fear buildup, all of those other obstacles to student success. So there is something going on there, along with all of the alignment work that's been going on for the past decade to make sure that what we teach in high schools aligns with what we expect in college, and that's ongoing. So it's improving. The state has acknowledged the need for this, and it's become a more intense interest for high schools, because while House Bill 5 was passed in 2013, they recently modified how they count those courses, and so the schools can now get credit for those college prep courses, and we're getting asked for them more often. So there is something going on there.
Well, and that's what we passed the STAR test in high school, And a large percentage of those are gonna pass the TSI. But the ones we need to target is that gap,
Right.
and that's where that's where we're trying to work, and that's where I think we need to be working. That's the gap, is because that's the student that could easily get discouraged and say, I quit. And if we can help them get caught up to see, I mean, I'll bet everybody in this room, self-esteem goes up a ton whenever you can do math problems. I know it did for me. I would look at a problem, and when somebody showed me something, I'd say, why didn't I see that? You know. But for those that, like Mr. Grizzard, that don't always see everything, we need to be there to help that gap, bridge that gap.
And when you go to the 50% in the fall of your developmental ed, is there gonna be any co-requisite classes for college algebra? Is it gonna stay with contemporary math?
Yes.
Okay.
So this spring.
That's in the works?
That'll be interesting
Fall
too.
19, what our intermediate algebra is going to be paired with college algebra. And I believe the decision is to only offer it in that format and move away from a 16-week.
Oh, really? Just in the
Now,
fall?
say that again, please.
So all intermediate algebra will be taught in a co-rec model paired with college algebra.
In a 16-week model?
A full 16-week semester. We'll teach it the same way, they will be teaching it the same way the developmental 0332 and 1332 align. Fairly level.
8 and 8.
Yeah.
Eight, okay.
Y'all have a lot of people in that class? Do you?
Will tuition be
figure-
3 hours, so they have to pay 6 hours of math for that 16 week?
Yes, but at least they're getting credit.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, I taught developmental writing and reading for so many years, and the big booger in front of our faces was I'm not getting any college credit for this, and that, you know, we fought that morale and everything. This is just, makes me very happy as an older lady, and my concern is kind of small, but in either side, math or the reading, writing, do you have the same instructor starting them and then taking them into the second 8 weeks, or do they have to change to a different instructor, 8 week? How does that go?
Math is one instructor.
It'll be the same instructor? Because to me, that's key. You know, just you build a rapport, you understand, you know how they test, all that sort of thing, especially with math. But I mean, these numbers are impressive to me, and
Very impressive.
I mean, it's super. We've needed this for so long.
The state's requiring this?
Yes, one of the smartest things they've done in a good long while, I might add.
Let me ask you, if the state wasn't requiring this, would
We
you
did it.
continue it as an
We did it.
educator?
Sure.
We've had a similar
We tried.
process. We've never gotten up off the ground.
What?
But I know we had hesitations, we had concerns moving into it. But looking at the success now,
Oh, yeah, that just,
we have a hard time arguing against it.
How would you change
I
it
might
if the
have
state didn't require it? How would you change where you're going right now? Would you increase it or decrease it? How would you adjust it?
The co-rec model is definitely a good fit for many students, but it's not a good fit for all students. And that's my only concern. We do have to have other pathways where students do need more time. This condenses a lot of material into 8 weeks, and many students learn well that way, but not all students.
right.
If I may, it also causes double jeopardy. For the student who has a real difficulty in a developmental class, enrolling them simultaneously in a college level class means if that student really can't achieve in developmental, it costs twice as much. So Adam and I are working right now on ways to find those students with our faculty, identify them, and get them out of that college level class, and do what we can for them before they carry a failing grade or a withdrawal on their college level transcript, because it can have, for all the good it's doing, that little bit of harm is significant for those students. And when we move it to college algebra, because in developmental reading and writing, it's more of the same. There aren't a lot of different courses and different levels. It's developmental reading and writing to English composition, right? But in math, it's 3 different courses receiving these students. And what we're about to do in algebra is going to be very interesting, because that's high stakes for those students, And the difficulty of moving from developmental to college contemporary mathematics is one issue, but moving from a developmental program into a college algebra program with the understanding you're going to take trig or calculus after it, or business stats, that's a whole other thing. And we're very concerned, and that's why we put it off until the second year. And why we're looking at how we best serve these students if the model doesn't fit them. So there's a lot of thought going into this.
Would you say that again? If I'm a first semester student, I'm not going to get into one of these.
Oh, yes. We'll put a first semester student into it, but if we find out this isn't working for a student, if they are having profound troubles for whatever reason, we need to do what's responsible to the student. The state's mandate is real, but the state's expectation is that we serve the student. And if the student isn't being served, we have to develop a mechanism to identify that and deal with it appropriately, because counting them as numbers is not the goal.
Yep.
Serving them as people is the goal. And when we find a student who's not drawing, working their way through it, we've got to find a way to help them out, because we are in effect enforcing the state's mandate on them, and they have no choice. But the state's mandate never raises us, correct me if I'm wrong, above 75% of all students. So even the state realizes this won't work for everyone.
Sure. And these numbers tell me that we're finding the right people.
The vast
Or
majority
they
of
wouldn't
the
be
time.
being successful.
But there are
Yes.
still times, as you know, where the student with the best of intentions winds up in the worst of places, and we don't want them to pay twice.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure out what to do about that.
You know, that's one of the, one of the main advantages of a community college right there. in my
Sure,
opinion.
it is. It is.
Okay, we got to move on.
Thank you all for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Number 7, President Farmer, future agenda items and meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next month, we will be bringing you the 2019-2020 tuition and fees. You're going to be receiving those shortly via email for your consideration prior to that next month meeting. Dr. Cantrell and the committee has been working to finalize those. They've been working very diligently, and we're just about there. A little bit of debate going on in Wise County for tuition and fees, and we're finalizing some of the tuition differential and workforce program fee recommendations as well. So you'll be seeing those shortly via email for your consideration at our March meeting.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, we're going to move to number 8, announcements. Dr. Farmer.
Announcements. We have, as you know, baseball and softball season upon us. Today we have a baseball game at 3 o'clock, softball at 3:30. February 16th is a busy day with a 1 p.m. baseball game. Basketball games at 2 and 4, including the basketball alumni reunion. So that's going to be a fun event on the 16th. February 18th, we have a softball doubleheader at 12 and 2. Another softball doubleheader on February 20th at 3 and 5. February 21st, we have library speaker Dr. J. Brooks Flippin at 1 o'clock in the Mintz Auditorium. Home baseball game, 5 p.m. on February 22nd. And then again on the 23rd, we have more baseball at 1 and softball games at 1 and 3. On the 27th, we have basketball games at 5:30 and 7:30 and a softball doubleheader at 1 and 3. The drama production, Only an Orphan Girl, will be playing from February 28th through March 3rd, and our interdisciplinary academic conference will be held February 28th through March 1st. March 1st, we have a baseball game at 2 o'clock, baseball game at 1 o'clock on March 7th, baseball game at 1 o'clock on March 6th, softball doubleheader at 12 and 2 on March 9th, and a popular favorite among students, faculty, and staff, our spring break. Campus will be closed from March 11th through the 15th. On the 15th, we have a baseball game at noon, softball doubleheader 12 and 2 on March 16th, March 18th, baseball game at 1, and then on the 19th, we have the Duo Azul piano concert at 7 p.m. featuring Dr. Song, and a softball doubleheader at 12 and 2 on March 20th.
If Brent were here, he would mention that spring break affects the X's meeting, because we normally would meet that Monday, and we'll be meeting on the 18th of March.
Thank you for that reminder. That's a good point.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, we're to number 9. We're going to go into a closed session. I'll announce what that is briefly. Consult with college attorney under the provisions of Government Code 551071, deliberate real property, Government Code 551072, deliberate appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal of public officer, employee. That's Government Code 551074. And so at this time, we will adjourn and go into closed session in about 3-4 minutes. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to call call us back into open session. And so that's where we are. We're on number 10 at this point, consideration, possible action, real property. There's no action needed on number 10, so we will move to number 11, consideration, possible action on all those items that are listed. There's no action needed on that. What we did is we were basically updated and had some discussions, and as a result of that, there's no action needed on any of those 2 items. So now we're at number 12. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.